It's time for another episode of What the Football has just happened this weekend. Yeah, it's a bit of a boring weekend in the Premier League. No real major upsets was there, to be honest with you. So, well, we'll start off Southampton versus Sunderland. Obviously, I've already touched on that. We clearly need signings, that much is for sure. 1-1 draw. Couldn't keep the game closed out. If we had someone solid in a CDM role, it probably would have been possible. But nonetheless, take a point, especially away at Southampton, because it's a fucking nightmare down there, isn't it? So, we'll move on. We'll head over to... Was it at Middlesbrough? No, it was away at West Brom. We'll head up to West Bromwich for probably the most boring game of the season so far. I mean, West Brom, they should have been high and dry in that game. They really should have. I mean, they made Middlesbrough look mediocre, which is why you've got to question, all these Middlesbrough fans. When I slated both teams in that video, coming out and saying, "Oh, we're clearly the pride of the North East, been the best team for 50 years." Yeah, clearly. After that, you've just proven that Middlesbrough can just as easily go back, even though they were lucky to get a 0-0 draw. They were, it just proves that Middlesbrough, they're going to start falling back on the laurels again. Like they did in the Championship, and that's just the start of it. Don't go wrong, you'll get a few more wins, that much I'm certain of, and I'll give you credit for that. And I do think you could just about stay up, yeah, easily. But it's just signs now, slow, little signs that you're starting to fall back into that side again, And let's face it, you didn't really give West Brom too many problems, did you? So, well, we're going to head up to Geordieville, Rubble City, and 2-0 win against Brighton, I believe it was. And to be honest, it was just another one of those typical games where they took the chances and Brighton couldn't. Brighton rattling the crossbar. That game could have easily ended a draw, to be honest with you. So, from what I saw though, Newcastle, they made changes, yes. Of course, they yet to have any major injuries, so, you've got to add that in there as well when that does happen. All in all, good result for them. Moves them up to 4th, I believe, in the Championship. 4th or 5th, I think. But there's teams that are up there that are looking a lot better though. So it's going to be interesting when they come against playing those teams, especially when they have to play the likes of Fulham again and Huddersfield. I don't know. It's going to be really tough to predict this Championship season, that's for sure. So I know they've got 2 losses already at the start of the season. Newcastle fans, rough it out. Honestly, already, Jesus Christ. But, 3 wins off the bounce. First time you've done that in, I believe it's about 3 or 4 years, I think. Something like that. Or 4 or 5 years. Granted, it is only in the Championship, but none the fucking less. You've still done it. You're sticking in there, but I don't know. You've got to bear in mind what you're going to do with injuries. You need an A and a B team. Quite possibly even a mixture to make the C team as well. So it's going to be interesting to see, as the season wears on, players getting worn down, where Rafa goes from there, really. So, as you can tell, I've named those 3 games, and out of those 3 games, there was only one player, really, that gets Player of the Weekend. And, I'm going to touch on Man City later, but for me, Jordan Pickford just, and I can't believe I'm saying it, pips Raheem Sterling. Right there. War break. Yes, Raheem Sterling was up there for Player of the Weekend. Jesus Christ. But Jordan Pickford, with the display he put in against Southampton, it's unbelievable. Player of the Weekend, by far. Absolutely. By far and by large. So, there isn't really a worst Player of the Weekend, to be honest with you, because most of the results were as expected, and there wasn't really that much of a bad performance from certain players, to be honest. Even the players you'd expect to be absolutely awful, You know, the likes of Manqueo, you know, normally Sunderland have a new player with a horror debut. That hasn't actually happened with Manqueo. So it's quite a weird weekend where you can't really choose an actual bad player of the weekend. But that brings me on to my team of the weekend and the game of the weekend, and that one falls to Manchester City. Yes, there we go. Hull City have been dethroned. Makes a bloody change. So yeah, Man City, they made West Ham look like a championship team, didn't they? Even when West Ham got that elusive goal back, it was, you know, it was just one of those, yeah, against the run of play things, and you'd think West Ham, go on, can you go on for it? Go on from it, go on, you know, make something of it. No, absolutely nothing. So there we have it. If I was to choose, obviously it's not a common thing, but if I was to choose a worst team, it'd have to go down to two. It'd have to be West Brom and Middlesbrough. Honest to God, you would have more fun watching paint dry than that match. Honestly, it was unbearable. And here's me before my preview saying Sunderland Southampton was probably going to be the worst game of the weekend, and that turned out to be nothing but. You know, it was anything but. It was probably one of the best games of the weekend, even though it was a 1-1 draw. How often do you say that in football? But yeah, Manchester City. Who's going to stop Man City? Again, it's going to have to be the case of like Newcastle, isn't it? You know, Newcastle on a 3-game winning run. Man City are on 5 games in total, I believe it is, unbeaten. For Guardiola, who's going to stop them? Because quite frankly, I don't think any of the big clubs, the likes of Chelsea or Man United, I don't think they're going to stop them. If anything, I think Guardiola's going to run riot on them with his team. Because Sterling's come out and said he makes him look fresh, you know, and he makes him feel fresh as well. And you could see that, you could really see that on Sunday against West Ham. Sterling ran absolute rings around West Ham. His pace was unchallenged, it really was. But we've got the international break coming up. I'm not going to cover any international games. You know, quite frankly, I haven't got time. I'm working all week, working at the weekend. So, but there will be a transfer video coming out on Thursday after deadline day, and we'll see where we go from there. Apparently, the Iborra bid has now been scrapped, and the Mason negotiations have come to an end because it looks almost set for Hull City. Oh, let's just hope we can. I don't care how much money Ellis Short has to fucking throw at deadline day. You throw the fucking money, and you throw it now. You want to spend £24 million on a castle, but you won't invest into a club when you've clearly got the money there from the football revenue. You know, yeah, we've been made to suffer from a few dodgy transfers from years ago. Not that much. Not that fucking much. Put your money where your fucking mouth is. Open that bastard wallet and chuck money at players. It's as simple as that. So, I guess I'll see you all for the next preview. Well, not preview, sorry. I'll see you all for the deadline day done. It's going to be bloody interesting. I wonder if there's going to be any big transfers coming in. I mean, major ones, you know. Let's hope so. Let's make it a deadline day to remember. Fingers crossed.